Hey guys, check it out. You're watching Jonathan Clarke on YouTube. Oh no! I have loved having the opportunity to record hundreds of videos that are inspired by Descendants and Zombies because I've had a greater appreciation that I've taken away from this fairy tale each and every single time that I've retold this story. Because you can retell a story 1,000 times over. It's all about how you tell it and how you perceive it, and how you give every single person who may have ever believed in Descendants and Zombies a chance in believing in an unforeseeable future. And that's something I've loved having the honor of doing. I've had the honor over this last year of uploading over 700 plus videos about Descendants and Zombies, nearly 800, meeting thousands of people who have drawn inspiration time and time again from these franchises, and events like the Worlds Collide Tour, and premieres of Zombies 4 Dawn of the Vampires, debuts of characters played by Freya, Skye, Nova Bright, who went on to captivate you in so many unbelievable ways, because you guys have felt inspired by Freya, Skye. I just want to say that I've never seen somebody have such a profound impact on so many hearts such as Freya, Skye has over this last year. The summer of 2025 was a summer that I will never ever forget because of how much each and every one of you touched my hearts for how much you believed in Zombies 4 Dawn of the Vampires. And having the chance to review Zombies 4 Dawn of the Vampires was an honor that I will never ever forget because I've talked about a lot over the last 25 years. I've been on YouTube longer than many of you have perhaps been alive, and I've had the chance of reviewing a lot of different things that have happened critically in entertainment, and I've had an opinion to share on virtually everything. But I've loved having the opportunity to share my opinion with each and every one of you when it came to Descendants of Zombies because I believe in these franchises just as much as each and every one of you have. And for your love and your heart and your dedication that you've exemplified for Descendants of Zombies every single time that you have, I just want to show a great deal of appreciation to each and every one of you and to simply say thank you. Because of you guys, next week we will celebrate over 100,000 views, which is our next milestone on this YouTube channel. We recently celebrated over 2,000 watch hours and almost 4,000 subscribers have happened for this YouTube channel because you have believed in this YouTube channel so much. Just as I believed in creating these videos for thousands of people who love Descendants and Zombies so much, you saw something special in this YouTube channel. And together we created something special for every fan of Descendants and Zombies because we believed in fairy tales. We believed in their characters and how they represented themselves. And now people like Kylie Cantrell will bring a character such as Red to life for the first time ever and come off as such a huge inspiration, separating her Descendants character from every Descendants character of the past, who likewise will go on to have such a profound impact on each and every one of our hearts. Characters like Mal and Evie and Carlos. And we will never ever forget the contributions of people like Cameron Boyce and how much the Descendants franchise meant to his heart. I think that since his passing, they've definitely put their careers into perspective and they've gone on to achieve something far greater than Descendants ever gave them the opportunity to do, but they've also never ever forgotten what Descendants and Zombies did for them because it really allowed them to become identified and really come into their own. And I think since carrying on the legacy of the Descendants franchise, I think this is exactly what Cameron Boyce would have wanted. You could have as many tributes as you want put into a Descendants franchise for Cameron Boyce, but I think that carrying on the legacy of the Descendants franchise is exactly what he would have wanted, and he couldn't be feeling more proud of the Descendants cast of this generation than he is right now. I think that if he could come back and tell us, he would say simply thank you for making Descendants and Zombies into what it is, and thank you guys so much for believing in Descendants and Zombies as much as what you have. Because you took this loser here on YouTube and you allowed me to become your voice of Descendants and Zombies and represent each one of you for your stories of inspiration about how you became fans of Descendants and Zombies. And together, we created something special for every single person who ever wanted to believe in Descendants 5 or Zombies 5 ever happening, who wanted to believe in these characters like mermaids and pirates and sirens and witches, who I've had a greater appreciation for forever, because a lot of that has to do with how I've lived on this island for forever, which is surrounded by water, which there are only two ways off of: by boat that could sink, crash, and explode, or by plane that could sink, crash, or explode. Either way, you're pretty much at a loss for words. But I think that living here has given me a greater appreciation for hearing fairy tales involved with mermaids and involved with pirates, because I've taken away a greater appreciation for it. The scenery here is incredibly beautiful. It often reminds me of Oregon, and I've been living here for forever. Now, I've had the opportunity to be in different parts of the United States and Canada throughout most of my lifetime, but I've always loved having the chance to come home and record these videos about Descendants of Zombies, because I've heard about everything from Taylor Swift's unprecedented success to the rise in popularity of Sabrina Carpenter, and I really feel as if these same same 3 or 4 celebrities are really taking away the spotlight from people like Kylie Contrell and Freya Skye for far long enough. Because when you think about somebody like Freya Skye, who's just 16 years old, I mean, what do you really know at 16 years old? Unquestionably, she is one of the smartest 16-year-old girls that I've ever had the chance of profiling on this YouTube channel, and I've had such an honor and I've had so much fun profiling Freya Skye for what she's worth, and she's worth a whole lot. When you talk about somebody's revenue standing at $1.5 billion coming in with Taylor Swift, I think that we talk about these celebrities a little bit too much. I think we should talk about the success that Freya Skye has already seen, but so much success she has yet to see. And the thing about Freya Skye's future is she doesn't even know herself what her future has in store. We know we have the Stars Align tour coming up in February. It will kick off on February 6th. She's sold out everywhere she's going. The tour will conclude in a ballroom in New York City. And to say that you're performing on the stage at a ballroom in New York City, which is one of the most celebrated cities in the world and certainly one of the most revered, is a testament to just how far you've come. You can honestly say that you've made it, but you still have so much further to go. And I look forward to being a part of that future with Freya Skye and everything that she has forthcoming, because Zombies 4: Dawn of the Vampires may have been her first official movie role, but it's really just the beginning for her, because what we're setting up here for, I truly believe, is a beautiful trilogy and the retelling of another love story, which was first represented by Zed and Addison's love story, which we very quickly fell in love with, and we gained a greater appreciation for how a girl could fall in love with a zombie. And I think there are more people out there that wish this could happen for them when they saw Zed and Addison's love story for the first time ever than far ever given credit for. And if you are somebody who believes that these love stories can happen for you, my heart has forever and always been with you, because that shows encouragement. That shows dedication to who and what you believed in, and how passionate you've been about collecting Descendants of Zombies merch. Have you got the Descendants of Zombies posters on your wall? Like I've got the Sonic poster behind me. And a lot of that has to do with how I was always a big Sonic the Hedgehog fan. There was just something about Sonic the Hedgehog's personality, how he could run really fast. And I remember being 7 years old and just being so intrigued by Sonic the Hedgehog. So I went and got all this Sonic the Hedgehog merch as part of my YouTube backdrop. And I know that it's a far cry from Descendants of Zombies merch, but I've always been a huge fan of Sonic the Hedgehog, and I've just wanted to showcase my passion for collecting Disney stuffies and Disney merch over the years, because I was always a huge fan of Disney board games, and I was a really big fan of their video game collections that they would put out over the years based off their most successful franchises. So I know what it's like to be and to have a hand in being a fan of Disney, so I can kind of take away a greater appreciation for these characters and what they've truly gone on to represent and really define. Because I've always wanted to be the voice of someone like Olaf, or the voice of Maximus, or the voice of Nemo in Finding Nemo, which was one of my favorite Disney classics of all time. Certainly going on to become one of its most revered, about how a dad would sacrifice everything to find his one fish son that he didn't lose in an attack by a whale or a shark at the beginning of the movie. I think that there is such an appreciation to take away from each and every one of these movies that we were fans of years ago. I remember being a fan of Finding Nemo in 2005, 2006, and I remember being such a huge fan of it that my 19th birthday was actually themed around the Finding Nemo characters, with just how, exuberant they were, how full of life they were, and just how much of an appreciation they gave you for life. And I've always been a big Disney fan, but I've had special characters that have forever and always held a very special place in my heart. So each time that I see a fairy tale princess or a fairy tale character brought to life for Descendants in a whole new way, I think I take away a greater appreciation for it each and every single time that I have the chance to have these conversations with each and every one of you. And Meg Donnelly doing such a fabulous job as the character Addison Wells was something that was absolutely phenomenal. I think that she really brought this character to life with such incentive and such an energy, because she was so excited to have her first major movie role at the hands of Disney, and she really wanted to make the most of this opportunity, because she knew that she was going to go on to identify herself to a whole new generation of Disney fans because of what this character was going to mean to so many wonderful people. She had the chance to tell her story as this character. She was involved in the opening monologue, herself and Mila Manheim were, and how they opened up these zombies movies with these cartoon openings. It gave me a greater appreciation for how you could tell a story. And each time that you told the story, it came off just as effective as the previous time that you would tell it, because I think that it's one thing to have a script and to have characters in that script, but it's all about how you tell a story and how much you believe in the story yourself that you're writing. Because once you put your art out there, it's no longer your art. It becomes the art of the fans. And how they feel about it and how they're going to respond to it means everything. because it's no longer your art, it becomes their art, and how they feel about it is the most important thing and the most critical factor to how a franchise is going to get off the ground. I think everybody felt differently about High School Musical and Hannah Montana years ago. Now, I was the biggest Hannah Montana fan in the world. You know, there was one guy at the Hannah Montana movie premiere back in 2009, and if I was the only guy in the movie theater amongst probably 500 girls, I felt more proud than ever before to be the only guy in the movie theater because I was such a huge fan of Miley Cyrus. Just the other night, actually, I was going to watch the Last Song movie from 2010, that Nicholas Sparks-inspired book, because it was such a beautiful story. And I think that everything Miley was involved in early on in her career really identified us as her as somebody that we could actually believe in and had more of a chance of believing in than ever before. Now, I may never have been as big of a fan of High School Musical or Hannah Montana as I eventually would go on to become of Descendants and Zombies, but I think that every Disney franchise that I've ever been a fan of has held a special place in my heart for the obvious reasons. And I think that 20 years from now, we're still going to be having these conversations about Kylie Cantrell and Freya Skye, who, you know, a lot of people started to fall in love with, I think, because of Descendants and Zombies and what they did for their careers. I also remember watching Freya Skye as part of the show The Next Step here on YTV in Canada, and I've been a fan of YTV for forever. I remember 30 years ago, now many of you probably are too young to remember this also, but I remember 30 years ago how YTV was everybody's favorite TV network here in Canada. Everybody couldn't get enough of YTV. Basically what would happen is Saturday morning you would sit in front of your TV so excited to watch the latest episode of Goosebumps or Mighty Morphin Power Rangers, which was huge back in the 1990s, or Pokemon, because when Pokemon first came out in the 1990s, it was based off the trading cards, but the TV series was just so authentic and it was just so original. So you could never wait, as a result of this being so original, you could never wait to see the latest episode of Pokemon or the latest episode of Mighty Morphin Power Rangers to see what the Power Rangers were going to have to endure next at the hands of Rita Repulsa or Lord Zed. So YTV had some of the most highest ratings for a TV network inspired by kids TV programming than ever before. And I remember being so intrigued by this. And then years later, having a chance to see Freya Skye be a part of The Next Step really set things in motion for her career. You know, she was always inspired by singing karaoke music, and this is how she got into the industry. She was recording herself playing karaoke music, and she always had a dream of wanting to be involved in the entertainment industry. She never ever thought it possible, and then at just the age of 15 years old, she's casted to be a part of the Zombie script and to have the distinction of carrying on the legacy of the Zombies franchise. I think more people have never felt more confident in a person like Freya Skye. And if you yourself are a Freya Skye fan heading out to the Stars Align tour this coming winter, I appreciate each and every one of you, and I love you with all of my heart, because in all honesty, guys, your love and support that you've shown for Freya Skye has truly been unbelievable and something that I will never ever forget. It kind of reminds me of how I was such a huge fan of Topanga in the Boy Meets World TV series, Danielle Fishel's character from Boy Meets World years ago. I remember being so intrigued by just how, you know, loving her personality was, if she cared about everybody around her, and all she ever wanted to do was make everybody happy. And I never ever forgot that iconic episode of Boy Meets World where Corey looked at Topanga when she had all these boxes in her room after he came in through her window after they had been separated, or she was avoiding her because she didn't want to tell him that she was moving away with her family out of Pittsburgh. And he looked at her and he said, you know, I thought we were going to be together for forever. And I never ever forgot that episode because it was so emotional. And I think that Descendants of Zombies triggers all kinds of emotions because we see this beautiful love story about Mal and Ben for the first time ever, and we're eventually going to see a love story for the characters Red and Chloe in this franchise because, of course, Red has a love interest that she develops later on in the franchise, which I think is going to happen by Descendants 5 because we've gone this far. We've come this far in the story with Red not having a love interest, but she could eventually go on to achieve something far greater than any of us ever expect, because if you follow along with the books, just like you follow along with the Twilight books or anything inspired by The Last Song years ago, you would know that she develops a love interest in a love interest called Ace. So, you know, with a total of, I think, 5 to 6 books in the Descendants franchise, I think there is still so much of a story to be told. And there's the thing about books that you got to appreciate too is there is so much authenticity with books, and there's so much detail that is never put into the movie scripts that are left out of books. And I think that when you read these books, you get a greater appreciation and you believe in more of a story being being told for the movie franchise, because oftentimes, movie producers think to themselves in board meetings, how are we going to even bring this to life? Do we have enough CGI or enough special effects or enough pyro to bring this scene to life? Because immediately what they did in The Rise of Red was they opened up The Rise of Red with this powerful introductory scene to the character Red and what she was going to go on to define, what she was going to mean to the Descendants franchise with the song Red. And everybody very quickly fell in love with that. But I think that you can do the same thing for other characters too that sometimes have been forgotten in the Descendants franchise. Like years ago when Descendants 2 first premiered, I was hoping they were going to do something with Milan's daughter and the character Jay, because I think that Jay was a character that oftentimes was never really appreciated as much as he should have been appreciated, or had much of a story told than what he could have had told. And I think that there were so many characters from the original trilogy that were forgotten about because the focus seemed to be on, say, characters like Mal and Ben and their love story. And it's only now that we have a greater appreciation for Descendants of Zombies because each character has their own individual stories. They forever and always had their own individual stories, but it seemed like the focus was a little bit too much on the same 3 or 4 characters all the time in the Descendants franchise. And I think with a greater appreciation comes the opportunity and the chance to present more storylines and more authenticity, and to really separate these characters into categories of their own to give them more of a chance than ever before. Like, I for one believe that Ruby Rose Turner's story is far from having been told and completed, and there is so much more of a story for Ruby to tell and to really be a part of, for just how genuinely sweet the girl was. I can never seem to get enough of how kind Ruby was and just how genuine of a person she came off for being. She definitely inspired me to be a kinder person with the people that I surround myself with, and I like to believe that I became a better person, seemingly not overnight, but eventually became a better person because of what Ruby Rose Turner taught me, the value of life and just how appreciative you have to be of things like time and the friends that are a part of your life, because you've never really needed a whole lot of friends in your lifetime. All you really need are probably 2 or 3 really good friends to help you make sense of what may be going on around you, and you will take away a greater appreciation for the things happening for you, because everything happens for a reason in due time. It may take you a while to find your place in the world, because I've always believed that everybody has a light, and I've said this 1,000 times in every video that I've ever uploaded about Descendants of Zombies, but I've always believed, I'm a firm believer in the idea of everybody having a light, and everybody does eventually find that light. And I know that sounds a lot like Cloud from Final Fantasy VII fame, but Cloud really made a whole lot of sense when he said that everybody has a light and you do eventually find it. You may take a little bit longer than a lot of people to find that light, but everybody does have an individual light, and eventually everybody does find it. I never ever thought this YouTube channel would see over 100,000 views. I never ever thought this YouTube channel would see much less 500 subscribers, much less 4,000. And that truly blows my mind every single time I check the analytics of this YouTube channel and the top trends. This has become everybody's favorite Descendants of Zombies YouTube channel of all time, and because of each and every one of you, this YouTube channel has really become into something so special for every fan of Descendants of Zombies. It really has metamorphosized into an incredible experience for me, and has given me a chance to reach out and touch the hearts of more fans of Descendants of Zombies than ever before. And this could have never been made possible, or could have never happened, if not for each and every one of you believing in this YouTube channel as much as what you have. So seriously, guys, from one heart to another, thank you so much for having chosen this YouTube channel as your favorite Descendants of Zombies YouTube channel of all time. We have a lot of stuff coming up next week. The 30th birthday of Dove Cameron, which we will be celebrating on January 15th. We will be celebrating the crossover to over 100,000 channel views, and almost 3,500 subscribers have happened here for this YouTube channel, and I can't even begin to put into words how appreciative I am of everybody for your contributions to having made this your favorite Descendants of Zombies YouTube channel of all time. So we've got a lot of stuff coming up and a lot of stuff to celebrate and look ahead to, and we also have Descendants 5 Wicked Wonderland's premiere, which we're still waiting on a release window to open up for, but as soon as that opens up and more information becomes available, I will have it for you to pass along here on this YouTube channel. So if you have not subscribed here to this YouTube channel, if you are a fan of Freya, Skye, if you've forever been a fan of Kylie Contrell, then I strongly recommend that you subscribe here to this YouTube channel, because you're not going to want to miss out on any of this action, because we still have so much of an opportunity to have even more wonderful conversations, to continue on inspiring more people to hit that subscribe button, button and to be a part of the Descendants of Zombies legacy, because it's really a lineage. And because it's such a lineage and something to be so appreciative of, I think it's something that we should really understand better. And I think that when you can give fans a greater appreciation for Descendants of Zombies each and every single time that you have the chance to resonate with so many wonderful people and to really encourage them to believe in Descendants of Zombies more than ever before, that is more of an honor than you can really truly ever put into words. And I've had the honor of meeting so many incredible fans who have forever and always drawn inspiration from these franchises and will continue to draw inspiration from these franchises for a very long time to come, because we have an unforeseeable future to be excited about and in store for every fan of Descendants of Zombies, and I have never felt more honored to be a part of that future with each and every one of you. Thank you so much for having made this YouTube channel your favorite Descendants of Zombies YouTube channel of all time, because I honestly don't know where I'd be out there in the world today if not for each and every one of you. I've had the honor of my lifetime sitting behind this microphone, recording, editing, producing, and uploading all these videos with my thoughts in them on Descendants of Zombies. And the thing about this is, to be so intrigued about, is that we have so much to be excited about for this unforeseeable future, and so many more conversations we have yet to have, and so many wonderful fans of Descendants of Zombies that I have yet to meet. So I got my work cut out for me, but that doesn't mean that I can't get there without your guys' love and support. So thank you so much for having made this your favorite Descendants of Zombies YouTube channel of all time, because I couldn't have done this without you. Thank you so much for having watched this video and believing in Descendants of Zombies as much as what you have.